Hello, Internet friends. It's just me with you here today because today we're going to talk about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. And Tim, like many other millennials, is just too young to have a high enough level of B-Man nostalgia to have made it to the multiplex this weekend. I went Saturday with a large group of 9 that included my wife and our 22-year-old daughter and her friend, our 21-year-old son along with his girlfriend, and our oldest and best friends along with their 20-year-old son. I'm 45 and my buddy is 46, so I believe we're officially out of the demo and therefore our opinions no longer matter to society. But our wives are 42 and 44, so maybe they matter a little bit. That's a long way of saying we had 4 men and 5 women aged 20 to 46, and Beetlejuice Beetlejuice received ringing endorsements all around. More specifically, I was thinking about the composition of our little group and the crowd of people at the theater, and I realized women really like Beetlejuice. That led to another realization. I saw this movie on Saturday, and it just dawned on me on Tuesday, all of the sympathetic characters in Beetlejuice Beetlejuice are female. Amazing how it took so long for me to make the connection. Probably more amazing that it wasn't pointed out by every trailer, commercial, and article for or about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice I'd seen. It's almost like if the story is good, the protagonist's chromosomes don't matter. Like if your narrative is structured well, you can highlight the strengths and weaknesses of your female characters without having to stop the film dead in its tracks while they pose for a poster. Okay, spoilers start right here. If you don't want the spoilers, go see the movie, come back later. Don't say I didn't warn you. But back to Beetlejuice. For those of you that can recall, to the extent that there were sympathetic characters in the 1988 original, they were primarily the recently deceased Adam and Barbara Maitland, portrayed by Geena Davis and Alec Baldwin. In this new film, we learned that the Maitlands found a loophole and have moved on. Geena Davis made a good point on not being asked to return, stating that it may be difficult to explain the now nearly 70-year-old ghosts. Alec Baldwin is now always better left out because, reasons. Among the living in the original film, perhaps the most sympathetic character was Charles Dietz, the put-upon patriarch of the Dietz clan, who has moved his family to the country for some peace of mind in the very Green Acres plot of the original film. Charles was portrayed by Jeffrey Jones in the first film. Jeff doesn't do much acting anymore for reasons. Whatever you do, don't Google Jeffrey Jones. This is not a joke. Don't do it. I did it. I can't undo it. Watch Ferris Bueller and the original Beetlejuice in peace. Don't do what I did. That's just as well because it's Charles' death that sets off the events for this film. We open the film with Winona Ryder's Lydia Dietz. Lydia is now a successful TV host of the type of paranormal investigative shows you might see on WB's parent company's networks. But things aren't all sunshine and rainbows for Lydia. We learn she's struggling with a pill addiction. She's tired of seeing dead people. She's involved with her seriously codependent and very lame producer Rory, played by Justin Theroux. And perhaps worst of all, she's been seeing flashes of Beetlejuice, and it's freaking her out. It's after one of these episodes that she finally sees the frantic messages from stepmother Delia, played by returning Catherine O'Hara. Lydia returns her calls to learn of her father's demise via plane crash/shark attack. They then gather Lydia's estranged daughter Astrid, Jenna Ortega, and head off, Rory in tow, to the house from the first film to warn Charles and lay him to rest. Lydia and Astrid argue, like mothers and daughters are wont to do. Delia turns out to be far more interesting and grounded than the over-the-top cartoon from the first film, although still very eccentric. Michael Keaton is still amazing as Beetlejuice, the ghost with the most. There's some fun B-Man backstory with his soul-sucking wife. ex-wife, played by Monica Bellucci. William Dafoe is all kinds of fun as the head of the Afterlife Cops. I think some shots are being taken as certain other 80s icons still out there making movies. The thrust of the story takes place when Afterlife cynic Astrid falls for a boy who turns out to be a ghost, who turns out to be an evil ghost, who attempts to con Astrid into taking his place in the afterlife. This leads to a climactic adventure through the netherworld to save Astrid, with Lydia actually being aided by Beetlejuice. It's all great fun. It's Burton, so it's all very surreal and a little absurd, but this film actually has more heart and a little more pathos than the first film, and I, for one, think it works. Delia, especially, is far more of a person and an actual likable character than the first go-round, while still being very much the same character. The three generations of Dietz women really are the core and driving force of this film, and it really works. The movie is doing great numbers, and I've yet to see any huge backlash, so I guess all those horrible misogynists all over YouTube must have just taken the week off. In other news, it's a sad day here in Nerd Champ land. Despite my best efforts to obtain one of these, or maybe even one of these, I completely struck out this weekend and left all of the theaters completely Beetlejuice merch free. I can order them on the internet, but man, they won't get here till February. And I don't think you're going to watch videos about them then. That's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and ransom your neighbor's pets until they subscribe too.